Sister, if you're waking up every day feeling like you're behind, overwhelmed, or like something is off, you're not broken. You're just living in a world that taught you to ignore your natural rhythm. Most women have never been taught that their bodies run a 28-day cycle, one that mirrors the moon. Instead, we've been trained and conditioned to live by the clock, the calendar, and everyone else's needs. But when you learn to work with your own cycle and the moon, not against it, everything changes. This video, why the moon is the original map to the feminine power, this is your starting point. You see, the moon doesn't ask you to hustle. She invites you to align, and every 28 days, she moves through 4 distinct phases, each one mirroring a season in your body, your emotions, and your energy. Here's what that looks like through my Feminine Power Pathway. The sacred pause is the dark moon, the inner winter, and the time of rest. Opening is the waxing moon, the inner maiden, and the spring energy of growth. Then we have the wild, the full moon, the summer, the queen energy of expansion. And then we have the waxing moon of reflect, of autumn, of the Marga or priestess energy. This 4-phase rhythm isn't just another gimmick, it's a practical map for women everywhere. Women who are tired, not just tired like I need a nap kind of tired. I'm talking about soul deep exhaustion, the kind of tired that comes from constantly pushing, performing, and pretending everything's fine when deep down we know we're not. We as women were never meant to live like this. We aren't designed to wake up every day and do the same thing over and over and push through and wonder why we're exhausted. It's not a flaw, and it doesn't mean we're broken. It's just that we have disconnected from our intuitive, innate creative power and design. And I have to say, with the rise of Catholicism and the patriarchal rule, no wonder, as they divided and conquered women, burning us at the stake if we displayed a slight intuitive gift or spiritual law. We were banished from our goddess temples and banned from even gathering groups. This reign and division and disconnect has to stop here. Today, I want to walk you back to a truth that begins inside of us, that you are a cyclical being, and the moon, she is your map. And it's absolute travesty that we weren't taught this in school. This is our birthright. And when we reconnect to the power within our cycles, watch the world, because women are rising. And we will no longer be pretty, polite, and pleasing. We will not be silenced, and we will no longer play small in case we ruffle someone's feathers. But here's the thing. What I find women often say is that it's too difficult to connect back to the cyclical wisdom. And because of the shame we've been conditioned to believe about our cycle, that's built up over time, everyone says that it's too hard. But you don't have to have a perfect cycle. You don't even have to be bleeding anymore. But what we do need to do is realign with our first biological clock of the infradian rhythm. And by doing that, you reclaim energy, time, and get off the emotional roller coaster for good. Sounds amazing, right? And I know what? As I said, you don't have to have a perfect cycle, and you don't even need to be bleeding anymore to use the moon as your map to bring you back into balance. Your emotion, your rhythms, your cravings, all of this follows the infradian rhythm. So whether you're postpartum, menopausal, irregular, or on birth control, you can still use the moon as an anchor and bring yourself back into balance. And it starts with noticing and tracking every single piece on one single piece of paper. Something like this that I have been creating this month for me. I put this on my wall, and every single day I write down on it, and sometimes my 11-year-old also writes down when I'm grumpy as well. So this link is in the show notes below, as well as my 4-phase map. But on this, I want you to monitor each day how you're feeling. But don't let this be a barrier. Like maybe even map the moon. But again, don't let that be a barrier. Track what emotions arise, what days you need to rest or retreat. Even track your creative sparks and be consistent, because no matter how long or short your cycle is, if you use one printout per cycle, you can then, after a few months, place these down together and you'll start to see some patterns emerging. And when you do, you can start designing your life around your cycle. But until you know what your unique cycle is, use the 4-phase map to work out what energy, food, productivity, everything else is prescribed around that time of your month. So even if you can only carve out 5 minutes to tune in to breathe when you're bleeding, which is the sacred pause, to slow down, just be mindful of that day. Maybe be mindful not to push yourself so hard, because in today's society, it is a busy paced world. We can't just reschedule everything because we're bleeding. But what we can do is we can create ritual and ceremony in every single day, like making a cup of tea and being 100% present with that. That's ritual. Lighting a candle and giving thanks and being grateful. That is a ceremony. And when we start to move with the moon and return to our cyclical ways, you'll find so much more time and energy to tune in. It's inevitable. So before I close today, let me share the cosmic weather report and how I use that information to guide me in my cycle, for I am not bleeding with the new moon. At the moment, I bled one day before the full moon this cycle. And right now, we're in the waxing phase of the moon, and it's the third quarter phase from full moon to new moon. And we're in that autumn where the leaves fall and the fruit comes down, and it's a time of reflection, so that what the fruit and the leaves give back to the earth as compost, we need to take this time out of our busy lives and give back to ourselves. Because if we move with the cycles both in and around us and consciously give back to those reserves of energy at this time of month, we can stop giving from an empty cup. Because reconnecting to your cyclical wisdom isn't about changing you, it's about reclaiming your sovereignty and being able to banish things like exhaustion, resentment, and overwhelm. These are not personality flaws. They're bodily signs and signals that you're out of sync with your feminine power. So let's change that. Let's work by tracking your rhythm with the moon. It isn't about wellness or productivity. It's about coming home to the parts of you that were never meant to live on someone else's timeline. It's the beginning of something much deeper, a remembrance of your feminine wisdom, your emotional sovereignty, and your sacred leadership. Because when you stop outsourcing your worth to your output and start honoring your cyclical intelligence, you begin to learn and lead your life, your work, your relationships from a place of power that can't be shaken. And sister, something big is coming. If you're feeling the stir and the ache to go deeper, to explore what sacred leadership could look like when you're not performative but rooted in your own rhythm, stay tuned. Download my free cycle tracker and the 4-phase map below and subscribe to my channel. Oh my God, I never thought I would say that. But do it, because then you won't miss a thing. Let's walk this path together, sister. And let's be able to hand this knowledge down to our children and heal the world one woman at a time.